Welcome everybody to Eye of the Serpent Tarot for another pick a card reading. So today we're looking at what don't you see about yourself that other people see. So this is going to be primarily things that are positive. I'm not really asking Spirit to sort of like delve into your deeper or darker secrets that maybe other people have picked up. So it's much more the kind of things where we underestimate ourselves or we don't understand the impact and primarily positive impact we have on others. So that's what we're going to be exploring today. What it is, why you don't see it, and also what you can do now that you have this information. So, and we'll look at it from, as we go through, we'll also look at it from different perspectives of what different people might see, what nuances we have with that, depending on whether it's a lover or a friend or a family member or a co-worker or whatever. So that's what we're going to do. In terms of choice, what I've done here to sort of set the theme and to get a bit of an idea about what is it that you don't see about yourself, I'm using the Colour Goddess casting cards. You can see 3 of them there. That, and there's 2 others from the deck. I don't know what they are under each of those that were intuitively chosen. So the top one is what I would ask you to do if you don't automatically or if you don't just intuitively go, do I feel 1, 2 or 3, or you don't always go to pile 2 or whatever it might be. What I'd ask you to do is, as I go through the 3, just see which one draws you the most, that you think that's something I think people might see, but I'm not sure if I would, say it of myself. So that because it's the one that's closest of the 3 cards that we're going to have to something that wouldn't surprise you. And then the rest will give nuance and sort of like an idea about things that you really don't see, so that we can really kind of like delve into that and let you understand yourself a bit better, at least through the eyes of others. Also, I think the other thing I should say about this too is that the intention in this is that it's true. Like what people are seeing is true. So it's not like people see you as, a goddess if you're just a person, for instance. So it's meant to be something true that you don't see about yourself that others see. And as I say, it is likely to be good. But if there is anything that nuances that or you need to know about it, it'll come out with things like tarot. So I will point that out if that comes through. So for pile number 1, we have gold. Talks about prosperity, riches and wealth. For pile number 2, we have periwinkle, chilled, frigid or frozen. And for pile number 3, we have ruby. That talks about fearlessness, strength and warrior. So if you sort of think that maybe people see that, even if you're not sure it's true, that could help you choose. Otherwise, just go where you would instinctively go. And if you want to go to more than one reading, that's fine too. There might be more than one sort of set of things in this particular set of readings for you that are things you don't see in yourself, but others do. But when you know what reading or readings you want to go to, as always, I've got the timestamps in the description box below, and I'll see you there. Welcome, pile 1, to your reading. So you came to gold, and that it talks about prosperity, riches and wealth. It is certainly possible that some people may see you as someone who is very well off, very privileged in some way, or very good at making money, turning things to gold, that kind of thing. They may see you as a golden child within a family. If you're in a family that has any of those sort of narcissistic patterns, you could be the golden child, and that's not anything that's your fault or anything that should be resented or anything along those lines, but it could be that that's the case. Could also be with this particular collective that comes to this reading, it could be that people see you as alchemical. They see you as someone who can actually manifest, because gold is the ultimate outcome for alchemy. But whatever it is, there's an overriding thing that you probably on some level resonate to about being a manifester, being able to sort of like create gold, that kind of thing. And as that, being able to realize things. So I would say, but you probably don't realize to the extent that people see that in you, or that you could actually do it, because this is what you're meant to find out. What is interesting and what I like around this is that you've also got lavender and brown. Now, if I went to brown first, it's a bit hard to read it, so I'm going to have to bring it up to my eyes. Earth, and seeds. So there's another word and I can't actually read it. It's so dark on the thing, but it's about being grounded. So you put those 2 together. People see you as either well off or likely to be well off, someone who could really shine, be a star, but you're grounded. People see you as very grounded. They don't see you as egotistical. They don't see anything that would suggest that this is sort of all just dreams or illusion. And the other thing with lavender, with compassion, empathy and sensitivity, they think you're kind. They think that you're a good person. And that is a tempering energy, I think. The sort of groundedness and the compassion. You're not likely to become someone who, if you became powerful, rich, well off, high status, you're not going to lose a sense of who you are, and you're not going to lose a sense of connection to people. So people see you as a potentially very successful person, but somebody who does it with a combination of practicality and kindness. So you don't necessarily see that in yourself. Maybe you're just, I would say for most that are coming to this, it's like you're on the pathway towards gold. You're on the pathway towards achieving something. And you're very focused probably on that, and you're not sure if you're going to get there, hence why you would have been drawn to the gold. What you're not necessarily seeing is that people would not believe that you would be ruthless, would not believe that you would not care about the impact on others, and would see you as someone that they go to for understanding, sensitivity, grounding, all of that kind of thing. So you haven't lost quote unquote the common touch, if you know what I mean, like that kind of sense that some people who elevate can get a little bit distant and a bit elite. You don't come across that way. So you come across, I think, as someone who's focused on achieving something, and something that is lasting, and something that has value. But you definitely come across as somebody who's kind and grounded as well. And you don't necessarily see this in yourself. I think you're probably quite ambitious. But it's almost like these things, being practical and being kind, are so embedded in you that you're not even noticing them. You think everybody's like that. But trust me, a lot of people who are on the pathway to gold are not like you. They are not kind. They are very ruthless, all of that kind of thing. So I think you don't understand how much people see a real depth within you. So let's ask a little bit more about what you don't see that others are seeing, and then we're going to ask why you don't see it, and then we're going to ask what can you do with knowing this now. And so we'll do that with tarot to start with. So a little bit more about what is it that you don't see about yourself. Pile 1. 4 of Swords, 5 of Swords, Chariot reversed, Empress, High Priestess reversed. Okay. One of the reasons that, one, you wouldn't be thinking people were thinking much about you at all, to be honest. Not that they would be thinking bad things, but I just think that you don't see yourself, with the 4 of Swords coming up there first, you don't see yourself as someone who needs to be the center of attention, and yet you have a natural radiance. So you might even be a bit uncomfortable as the center of attention. So people see you as someone who, should be, have your name on the book cover, be on the conference stage, be on the performance stage, whatever it is. You don't really think of yourself in that way because you're quite retiring. You're quite sort of not shy. Well, you could be shy, but like you're more within yourself. It's more kind of an internal journey, and I think a spiritual journey that you're on. So you don't see that. And you don't see that people see that you will not go into a battle that is pointless or that would hurt others. I really think you're very kind. I think one of the big, and to me, that's one of the greatest virtues. So I'm biased towards this group already when I say that. So I think that you would not go into a battle if it was going to be unkind. You would retire and step away. You want to achieve things, but not at any cost. And if you have to slow down because things are not in balance, you will do that. You're very nurturing. People see you as very kind, very caring, very nurturing, but also able to achieve. They want to see more of you, actually. I think that most people feel you have such a radiance about you with the gold, and that because it is combined with sort of like a very grounded, kind, empathic, nurturing sort of energy, they really want to see someone like you succeed. Like I think a lot of people are really kind of rooting for you. They really want to see that succeed, because I think for people like you to succeed, it'd be like, good things do happen to good people. That's basically what that feels like to me. And they know that interestingly though, with this energy, with what they see, I think they kind of know with you that if you were in an argument with them, or there could be an argument with them, you will actually kind of step back and let them win the argument rather than hurt them. Like I think, and that's a good thing to know. Most people think this is wonderful. It is possible. Sometimes somebody might try and exploit that. What I do like though is that they do know you're practical. So I don't think that people would push it too far. I don't think that they would say, oh, this person's an easy mark, because you're not. You're very practical, but you're not going to be cruel. So people shouldn't underestimate that. But like you're not even thinking about this. It's like it's so natural to you that you think, well, things are what they are and we need to be kind. We need to be empathic. It's like it's so inbred in you that you're not thinking about it. It's really interesting the Empress came up because I think there's a whole thing with parenthood. And I'm saying parenthood because I don't think it matters what gender the parent is or whatever, whether it's the mother or the father or whatever the thing is within the household. I think that there is a self-sacrificing side to parenthood, and it's sort of almost taken for granted. When I've seen that with friends who are in parenting roles, sometimes it just amazes me. Like their focus is so completely on, the other and the nurturing and the caring sort of thing. Even when they're very ambitious and they want to succeed with things, like it won't be at the expense of others. I think that's what people see in you. And I think it's so natural to you, you don't even think of it as a quality. But I'm telling you, it's a quality because it's not, particularly for people who, as I say, are heading towards the gold energy. A lot of the time people who head there, they're very very single-minded and they're very self-oriented, and like it creates some amazing people in the world, but it's not necessarily this feeling of this sort of grounded kindness as well. So I think you're seen as someone that everybody would want to see to succeed, or most people. The occasional person might be jealous, but that's going to be their own issue, I think. So why don't you see this? Beyond that, I think it's sort of, you think everybody's like this and they're not. Why are you not seeing this in yourself? What hides this from you? Eight of Swords reversed, Hierophant reversed, Knight of Swords, Four of Cups, Queen. Okay, this has come from dealing with some form of pain, some form of unfair criticism. So you're kind of like it as a response to something. And as a result, it's more that your focus when you are making sure that what you are trying to achieve is grounded and kind and nurturing is from not having experienced it somewhere else. So it isn't necessarily that you think it's just natural, though I think it is natural to you. So it's sort of like there's two pieces to this pie, because if you have come from a situation where you've been around someone very critical, like Queen of Swords reverse is almost like the opposite of the Empress upright. There's sort of like a very non-nurturing, very critical energy in a place where maybe it's a workplace, maybe it's your childhood home or something like that, where it was really frowned on to be different. Like to have an intellectual freedom, like to think differently was really frowned on, and swiftly dealt with. That kind of like cut off ambitions. I think that kind of grounding, that kind of background, you're kind of like you can become that yourself, or you can become what you've become. So what you've become is the opposite to it. But it's also possible that somebody can come from the same sort of background or the same situation and become like it. So it's like you haven't necessarily thought through that your response is a response to this situation, but it shows what's natural to you, because you're just not the sort of person who would do that. And because you do truly think for yourself, which is why you can be practical, which is why you can be kind, because you have that, I guess, basis, that kind of ultimately you know what you believe, and you haven't filtered it with a lot of rationalizations and a lot of trying to fit in, because there's something that's been a bit brutal in your background, whether it was, as I say, childhood, school, workplaces, I don't know, but there's something like that, and you as a response have just become the opposite. But it's not, it's so seamless that you haven't even realized how much you now represent the opposite. So it's more that, like, to you, being kind and being practical are kind of things that are necessary to live up to what you believe in that's different to this, as opposed to being something that other people see in you as a quality. So you have that that energy almost naturally, but you don't even see that you have it. It's more that you're thinking, I don't want to be what somebody else is, as opposed to I want to be what I am. And yet what's happened is this situation has shown what you are. So it's like, because it's responsive, you almost think it's not you, but it is you. I think that's the thing to understand. So if you know that given a choice and you could have become exactly the thing that you now fight against, but you became you, which is amazing, pole one. What can you do with that information now that you realize how people see you, which is so different to what the things are that you've dealt with before? How can you best use that knowledge? Hermit reversed. Ten of Pentacles. Yeah, it's definitely something like childhood or whatever. King of Wands reversed. Okay, this is you can bring to the surface what happened. You could actually become a spokesperson against that sort of energy. Like this undoes something. For some of you, because you can embody this, because you are so different. And as I said, you could have been the golden child, or maybe you were the real golden child, but you were treated like the truth teller and all that kind of thing, depending upon the dynamic. If you were in a narcissistic family, many of you had to do with family, or this has to do with decaying kind of workplace cultures or whatever. But there's a lot here. There's a lot of people, like what you've come from, you have a very good radar for that. And like this sense of your practicality and kindness and taking your success, if you come out more and show that, it's like, that's what people want you to do. People see you as, you might in fact even be someone in a workplace, for instance, who would be just the best manager ever, but you haven't necessarily pushed yourself forward. Maybe partly because you think, God, everybody in the management thing, the narcissistic creeps or whatever. So but you would be the opposite of that. So I think starting to understand that this is truly you, and it's something that you can express, and it's something that you can show, and you can be a role model. That's a really good way of using this, because you are strong enough to do this, and it is endemic in you compared to, it is a response, but it means that you can understand that, see that in the environment, and show the opposite. So I think there's a kind of high degree of reality. There's something about the crucible in your family, or in whatever was the creation level of this, that has taught you a lot. And as I say, you don't even realize to the degree it has, or what people see in you. But if you start to bring that more to the surface, that will take you closer to being this, shining example for others, which is just lovely. So let's have a look. What I wanted to do was I wanted to use dream imagery, because it gets really to the sort of core of something, to see a little bit more about different sorts of people in your life and what they see in you that you don't see. And this may be more of this, or it might be some other things to know. So we're going to ask around lovers and potential lovers. We're going to ask around friends and family, and we're going to ask around colleagues, workmates, people that you deal with in your vocation or your personal brand, that kind of thing. So sort of the three different areas. And what I'm going to do with each, and I'm going to do one at a time, is I'm going to get the dream imagery, and then I'm going to use a different tarot deck, and we're going to get two cards for why it is that you don't see this, that the people in that group see it, and then also how you can use that information. So a sort of subset of what we've been doing here. So for lovers or potential lovers, wow, we got lucid dream itself, self-awareness, taking control, manifestation. Yeah, manifestation. People can see this. You are able to manifest, but it is because you're self-aware. Like, I think you have a really high degree of self-awareness, and therefore a really high degree of ability to see things for what they are, and to be kind, because you're kind of self-actualized on that level. But yeah, definitely. And I think lovers may want you to be the one who takes the lead to some degree. With the Hermit reversed, with the Four of Swords, like with coming out a little bit. So lovers or potential lovers may really want to kind of follow you a bit, because they think that you really do understand how to make things happen. And in that case, probably a great love relationship. So let's ask, why is it that you're not seeing this? Again, it's because it's a clear thing. You're not seeing how much you can manifest. So why is it that you're not seeing it? We have Queen of Cups reversed and the Hierophant reversed. Okay, yeah, because you're very different emotionally. Because actually, that's actually pretty clear. What this is saying is that, you whether this was in a work environment, your family or whatever, there was a particular way of achieving things. Like, I wouldn't mind betting if it was your family or it's a work environment, it's a very high-powered, very successful environment, but it ran on critique, it ran on unkindness, it ran on ruthlessness. So the reason you don't see that you can fully manifest is that your emotional patterns are so different to what it is that you think would manifest. But once you actually see that you've actually got the more enduring one and the one that people would want to follow and the one that people would want to be with. You also, if we're looking at this around lovers, you may feel that you're so different emotionally. How are you going to manifest love? But again, this has more to do with whatever environment you've been around. But people see, and potential lovers see, you as being the one who could manifest. So I think just having a little bit, if we pull two cards, but I do think that what you could do with this is just kind of back yourself a bit more. But let's see what it says. Knowing this, how can that help? So we have Strength reversed and the Four of Cups reversed. So everything's reversed. So this is bringing things to the surface because everything's underneath. Bringing to the surface the emotional patterns that have blocked you and releasing them. Like, once you understand that your type of manifestation, your type of gold is actually the one that is more valuable and the one that is more long-lasting and the one that is more true, so you shake off whatever this kind of programming from the past was, then what other people see in you, the people who want to be your lover, be in love with you, be with you on that kind of level, you can kind of like dislodge all the emotional blocks that blocked your strength and come into being gold. So there you go. Lovers definitely see it. And I guess, they are likely to, because they are likely to be the ones who want to become really close to you. What about friends and family? I'm actually going to do, I would be just doing friends and families one together, but I'm actually in this reading because I do think there's something about family here. I'm going to do friends and then I'm going to do family. So friends. Singing bowl. Sound, music, vibration, reverb, love, open heart. Yeah, your friends think that you have this lovely open heart and you don't necessarily, because as I say, I think you're kind of in this reaction mode to something else. You don't even understand how much other people appreciate that. They may love the sound of your voice, the musicality of what you say, the kind of vibrational energy that you have. Like, that's really lovely. So why aren't you seeing that? We have the Four of Wands and the King of Wands reversed, because you're usually the person around situations that is keeping everything stable and keeping everybody happy when there's ego issues. So there may be sort of stuff around your friendship circle where there's some of this ego stuff is going on, or there could be like kind of this may in fact be friend sort of energy here. But I think that you may be around some people in your home environment but this is around friends, your friendship circles where there are ego. And so you're busy just keeping things stable. You're not seeing how much people appreciate it. And you may have a friend who's very egotistical, who likes to take the credit. So knowing that people see you this way, your friends see you this way, what can you do with it? King of Pentacles reversed. You can like let go of old structures and old ways of thinking. The Fool reversed, and know that you know the terrain really well. And know that you can recognize the patterns. Because there's a consistent message here for you, Paul, and it's definitely saying that you've gone through something which has created or brought out this innate beauty in your soul, but other people are seeing it more than you are. So what about family? Because like family, I mean, some family might be fine, but I do think for many of you there's a family connection here to what you're kind of moving against. Oh, yes, alien. Yeah. The people in your family circle that are more ruthless or more kind of stuck in their ways or whatever it is, see you as being alien, you're misunderstood. They see you as, some of them, if they are like you, may have a similar feeling and may also feel that they are an outsider and a hermit. It might be that there are those in your family that are very shy and retiring, and then there are those that are very full on. But there's something, there's a disconnect operating there. So why is that the case? Why are you not seeing? Well, I don't think you are alien in this case, but what is going on with that for you? King of Cups reversed. Yeah, it's a difference in emotional energy. You're very different to the ones in your family who are like this. The Hermit reversed, and you sometimes do try to speak out, and it just isn't understood. So what can you do with that? And which might be why you don't feel like doing it elsewhere. but like the people around you really like your energy. What you can do with this, you can start to celebrate those in your family that there is a true connection with, and be very realistic about that with the Seven of Cups reversed. So again, you can just use this to be realistic. And then what about co-workers, colleagues, friends, business partners, whatever, not friends, work friends, anybody who is in your kind of like vocational area, they see that there's some stuff hidden away. They get a sense that there's like hidden depths to you, I think. And they may feel, and this is the one thing to understand, I think in your workplace, people may see your potential, but they may feel that you're not actually going towards it. They see things hidden away. They see fear. They think you're hiding. This is why they want you to come out more. They think you overthink things sometimes. So I think in the workplace, like this is because gold, the aspirational thing, I think this is where you can really do something with knowing that your energy is actually very positive, but you do need to kind of like pay attention to the fact that they want to see you go after things a bit more. Doesn't mean that you become this energy that you've kind of like gone the opposite direction of. So why is it that you don't see this, or why is it there's a disconnect around how people at work are viewing you? Have the Ten of Cups reversed. It could be just the workplace that you're in. It could be very unstable. Page of Swords, or it could just be that you're not communicating enough, or communication at work is not clear. So if you're in an environment that doesn't sort of fulfill what you want, or you're worried because you think it's going to reflect what you've come from, it may be an indication to move somewhere else. So what can you do with that information, pile one? Eight of Cups reversed. Think about why aren't you leaving it? Knight of Wands, and then move on. I do think for many of you, the workplace you're in maybe isn't the best one for your energy. Though there could be people there. You just need to identify them. If they think that they want to see more of you, they can sense this. They see this kind, grounded power. But there's something about your work environment, by the looks of things, that makes you feel you need to hide it. So for some, it may be for some that come to this, it's family, and for some it's work, and for some it might be a bit of both. Okay. So let's have a look at something like kind of like musical, like use a musical cue for each of these types of connections, for just something else to bear in mind about what you're not seeing about yourself. So we'll get a song for lovers and potential lovers. Staying alive. Okay. So like, lovers and potential lovers see that you are in a difficult situation, or you've been in a difficult situation, but you have that strength to keep moving on. So I think like understanding that they do admire that, and they think that you will push through. What about friends? Wish you were here. Okay, yeah, I think that friends really love it when you're around. They love your energy, all of that kind of thing. Friends, in most of them, maybe they feel that either you're caught more with your family or you're caught more with your work. They just want to see more of you because you're such a joyous energy in their lives. What about your family? Come sail away. Okay, like I think this is like, there might be some in your family that are more like you. And there's kind of like, let's join together and move away from this. Or it's just an energy of like, you need to move away from that. If you resonate to that there was that kind of, you felt alien, it's like you need to sort of sail away and go towards what is true to you. And what about work? Don't stop me now. Okay, you need to move, or you're meant to go towards it. And there are some that see that and they want to see you do that, but I think it may be also, I need to move on. It just depends, as I say, whether the main issue that's created your opposite reaction that is in fact more true to you and a lovely energy is from family or from work, or a bit of both. Okay, let's just get a little bit of astrology to guide your way now that you have seen this. So Mars in the 5th house, be proud. Yeah, be proud of who you are. You should be proud. Gold, you're going for gold, and you are gold. And Mars in the 5th house wants to create, wants to act and create and be and love and all of those sort of things. We have Neptune in the 6th house, self-sacrificing service to others. You do help others. It is, as I said, the one thing you have to be careful of is that it's not self-sacrificing, and that it's not, nobody takes advantage of it. So the more that you can focus on what actions do you want to create your sort of like gold, your manifestation, the better. But you'll always be caring of others. And Venus in the seventh house, harmonious. Yeah, you're always going to be harmonious with others. You are the opposite of this energy, but that energy is either around you at the moment and you need to kind of move on, say from a workplace or a family thing, or it was in your family or something like that. But you aren't that. You are the opposite of that. Even if you worried about whether you were that or whether you could survive within workplaces or whatever without being that, you definitely can. Okay, so to finish off, we're just going to use a deck that goes to the subconscious, the tarot deck. It's monochromatic. I use this quite often for this, and I'm doing the 5 cards. You choose a number just to get the extra bit about this particular message for your part of the collective. So please choose a number between 1 and 5. Pause if you need to, because I'm about to deal them out. So if you chose number 1, you have 10 of Pentacles reversed. If you chose number 2, you have the Moon. If you chose number 3, you have the Star reversed. If you chose number 4, you have the High Priestess reversed. If you chose number 5, you have the 10 of Wands reversed. Okay, so if you chose number 1, I think, well, this is definitely either work. If it's work, you need to move on. It is very much saying that. Work has given you as much as it can give where you are at the moment. You need to start looking for the next job. Now, of course, don't rush off without another job to go to and all that kind of thing, but it would definitely be saying that for you to really achieve all you could achieve and to fit in, then you, and for your true sort of like kind, grounded, manifesting self to really shine, you need to move on to something else. It could also be saying this is something from family, but it is not you and you're not carrying it forward. If you chose number 2, there's still some stuff to come to the surface on this. It might be quite a surprise to you. It might be necessary to kind of like meditate and go within to really understand this. I would say emotionally there's a lot of depth to this, and it probably came from past family or love relationships and that kind of thing. So allow yourself to go within and discover it. If you chose 3, you really have been hiding your light under a bushel, and it's time to start to move forward and understand you're meant to be gold. The Star reverse is you've potentially hidden away your potential, and it's time to move forward. If you chose number 4 with the High Priestess reverse, it's a bit like the Moon, but it's suggesting that this is closer to the surface. I feel that if you chose number 2, this goes very deep and might be really surprising to you. If you chose number 4, it is something that needs to come to the surface, but probably is not so surprising, and your intuition has been telling you for a while. If you chose number 5, it's time to let go of the burden of whatever the past was and own your gold and own that you are meant to manifest and create from a very kind and very grounded basis. So I hope that resonates. I hope you enjoyed the reading. If so, please like the video and subscribe. If you care to share in the comments, I'd love to hear. Otherwise, I hope to see you in future readings. Welcome, pile 2, to your reading. So you came to Periwinkle, which had chilled, frigid and frozen. So as I said in the introduction, it could be that you half suspect that people may see you as a little bit detached, a little bit difficult to get close to, a little bit sort of hidden away in some way, or you might have had the occasional thing said to you that makes you feel that people feel that you're hard to approach or something. Or there could be something about your situation that makes that the case. Like if you're very well known, you might need to have more boundaries about who can come close to you and so forth for fairly obvious reasons. So any of those things could be the case. But what I would overall say about this is that I think you're very spiritual and you're kind of almost not of this world. And people do see this, and you may not sort of even realize it, because I think one of the things that's going to come out in these readings, particularly with this now and then what came out in the pile number 1 as well, is that I feel like this is sort of something like the things that you don't see in yourself are often the things that are so natural that you don't even think they're different to anyone else, or you don't see them as different. And I know from talking with people who are psychic and spiritual or whatever, quite often it's kind of like it doesn't feel different to anything else in their life, and yet someone else would see it as very different. But when I look at this, we've got sky, faith, flight, limitlessness. There's a sense of you kind of like having very much blue sky thinking, but like being this sort of like person like of a lot of like breadth of soul and energy and all that kind of thing. And then we also have jet, and it's a little bit hard to read, but it basically says conclusion, death, end. So that's not actually about that you're about to die or anything like that. It's not about that sort of thing. It's about, I think, a connection to the other world. Like this feels like a mediumship type of connection. This feels like astral travel. And then this feels like maybe someone who's actually very empathic and very telepathic and has had to kind of find a way to separate out. So I think that what others see or what you don't see about yourself is that some people find you a little bit scary, but they might go to you if they needed a connection to the other world. Some people see you, this is all a combination of the same thing. Some people see you as a visionary, spiritual, able to kind of like move through timelines, whatever it might be. And some see you as someone who is kind of like mysterious and separate. Like, do you know what this feels like? It feels like the high priestess, actually, in the tarot. In her fullest form, like a priestess of the mysteries. That's kind of what this feels like. You don't have to be a woman, by the way. It's just using the archetype. So I think you really do come across this way, whether you really probably don't realize it. So, and you may find that you're getting responses from people that are surprising, like either people expect all the solutions to come from you, or you might find people actually kind of hold back a bit from you and sort of seem like, I don't know if I can go near that person. So, and you might be thinking, well, why? Like I'm open to people. So there's sort of something, you have very strong spiritual energy, and it's kind of, as I say, could be a little bit scary sometimes, but I don't think you're a scary person, but you're able to, it's very scorpionic. That's very, I can be in the mysteries, I can be in the underworld, that kind of feeling. But this is very Aquarian. So it's very, I'm kind of across all vistas and I live in the future. And then this is sort of maybe a little bit Gemini. So it's kind of like it's a combination of Scorpio, Gemini and Aquarius, actually. That's what I would say around what you're not necessarily seeing in yourself, but how you're coming across to others. So let's use tarot. We're firstly going to ask a little bit more about what you don't see. Then we're going to ask why it is that you don't see it. And then we're going to ask what can you do with this knowledge now that you know it? So a little bit more about what you don't see, like about yourself that others see. And again, I'm saying, as I said in the introduction, this is accurate. You really do have this energy. There's nothing wrong with this, by the way. It's just a kind of spiritual psychic power, but you really do. So 10 of Wands, 8 of Swords reversed, Chariot reversed, 2 of Wands, Page of Pentacles. Yeah, you're not of this earth. Like I think you come across, like whether it's sort of people meet you in your scorpionic self or whether they meet you in your Aquarian self or as I say, kind of Gemini, they don't see you as being really of this earth. You seem, at the moment a little bit alien, but not like, I think you're intriguing and this energy is very attractive, but this energy is like, okay, approach at your caution is kind of the energy around this. So they don't see, they like, and it's true, you're more of the spiritual world in a way than this world. They do feel like you're here with a mission, or like you come across as you're here with a mission to remove burdens of and free thinking, like, and the sky particularly here, like being free to think, take the burden off, to be able to lift off. So there's definitely a sense when around you that like anything is kind of possible, and the universe is so vast. But at the moment, you either are drawing people who feel that they've got stuck and they don't know what their direction is, or they feel that you haven't yet really done what you were meant to do with this. You're kind of waiting for something and they don't know what it is that you're waiting for. But as I say, it's that they might be looking at the moment into things that are not the point, because if they are thinking like, if you're doing this, it's somehow to create something material, it's almost like that's not what you're doing. It doesn't mean that, you don't want to earn a living and, have a nice life, but you're kind of in this whole otherworldly place. And I also think that there's something about you that it's sort of like, it's a little bit forbidding to others. Like, it's like you're following a path others can't easily follow. Now, it doesn't mean you could never find, a lover or a friend who wouldn't have a similar energy to you, but there is something a little bit forbidding about you. And as I say, it's not, I don't get the sense on any level that people don't like you. I just think they feel like you're at this other level, or you're not sort of someone they could emulate, but you are definitely someone who they would go to get a new way of thinking about things, to free up the opportunities and all that kind of thing. And I do think for many of you might have mediumship abilities, so they might come to you for that if you did that professionally. So let's have a look and see, why is it that you don't see this about yourself or know this about yourself? Queen of Pentacles, Five of Swords, Tower reversed. Oh, okay. Nine of Wands. Yeah, okay. Judgment. All right. So you are actually trying to create something material. And you may well do it too. Like the Queen of Pentacles is a good sign. But you actually are really practical, you're really grounded, and you're really committed to things. And you would be very much ride or die. If you let someone in, and I think it would take a little bit for you to let someone in, but if you did, then you would be ride or die to support them to achieve their dreams. You actually do. You feel like you are meant to be on earth. It's just that you give off this energy as though you aren't. So you're very focused on what can be achieved and what should be committed to. But you are finding the world frustrating at the moment. You're feeling like you can only go step by step. You really want to kind of break through, crash through, but you can't. You feel like you're close to what you're wanting to do, but you're not quite there. And you're not sure whether some of the battles that you're doing are worth doing. And you feel a calling. So you have this really psychic energy, but you feel that you're failing it actually, and you're not. I just want to say you're not, but you're not seeing what other people are seeing because you really are focused on what am I meant to do in this world and what's my calling in this world. So you kind of, I think you're aware you have psychic ability, but I think others are seeing you and seeing you as someone who is here for something other than the material, but you're focusing on the material in a really grounded way and in a way wanting to be committed. But it's like there's almost like you're kind of at war with this. So it's sort of like, well, I think you probably know that you're very psychic. I think you probably know all of that, but it's kind of like, well, if that's the case, why can't I bring my big dreams into being? But it's sort of like, it's because there's such a strong energy here that is so different that it takes time. Like it's like you have to protect it, and it takes time, and it comes from the depths. So it's sort of like not something that can be just done easily. And as I say, there's a part of you that's not really material. It's almost as though you've got to step back and realize, not that you can't have a materially comfortable life, but that your purpose is not really in the material. And you're not seeing it because you're focusing on that at the moment. And this could be because you were brought up to do it. Or it could be that you're just thinking, well, if we're here in the material, we've got to do something in the material. So if you know this now, if you know that there is something very otherworldly about you, I actually think this is a bit of a sign for people, if they have these abilities, to think about doing it professionally. Like maybe if you use it professionally, then you can marry the two together and people will feel more able to approach you. But just knowing the power of your energy, how is that going to help you, pile two? Knight of Swords reversed, Page of Swords reversed, Six of Wands, Nine of Swords reversed. Okay. You think a lot, you're in your head a lot. This is the other reason, actually. It's a secondary reason why you don't necessarily see how sort of psychic and kind of spiritually powerful you are that other people see, because you do live in your head a lot. And there is a kind of a thing, and I've talked about it quite often on my channel, which seems to be that people almost think there's the intellect and then there's intuition. But in fact, the highest order of spiritual thing is connecting all the energies. So the material, the emotional, the actional, sort of like, or passionate, and the intellectual. So it's not separate. I think when you start to see that you can actually connect these two things, and that slowing down is okay. It's been more something about the way you're communicating than anything else. It's been a block. So you slow down, think about what you want to communicate. Not only could you draw more people in if you're a bit worried that you're scaring them off, but you will be recognized for what you can do, and then you won't have to worry about it so much. So this has been worrying you to some extent, because there is this big vista of, I want to create things, opportunities for myself, opportunities for everybody else. But you're so Persephone, really. And like, you've got to kind of understand that you can actually use that that depth and that understanding to connect a bit more, so that you aren't sort of, like, as I say, just a little bit too scary for people in some way. So let's have a look at it on another level. I'm going to use dream imagery. And we're just going to see what, firstly, lovers and potential lovers see in you that you don't see. It could be a version of this, or it could be something different. We're going to look at it for friends and family, and we're going to look at it for colleagues, workmates, that kind of thing. So firstly, and for each, we're going to look at a little bit more about why you aren't sort of seeing this and what you can do once you know it using a different tarot deck. So for lovers or potential lovers, lips or mouth, expressing, ingesting, sensitivity, sensuality, intimacy, okay, it's not a big, that issue is not as big a deal with lovers. If they love you, they probably are really drawn into and fascinated by that. They may be particularly drawn into the sky energy, but, you know, as I say, very Scorpio, you're very sensual, very attractive on that sort of level. You may not realize how much how you speak and what you say and how you express things is a very sensual thing for others. So again, you may feel like everybody thinks I'm really kind of the ice queen, but you're actually not. So let's see, why is it you don't know that in relation to lovers? Why is this a surprise? 5 of Pentacles. Maybe you haven't been with somebody for a while, or you feel alone. Yeah, Ace of Swords. Like, you're looking for new love, I'd say, for most of you. Or you're looking for a new way of thinking about a lover that you're with that feels less separated out. So you feel separated from lovers, and yet lovers do want to connect with you. So what can you know if you understand that you actually have a very sensual way of coming across? 4 of Wands reversed. King of Wands. Okay, there's something about understanding what caused an issue before and what limited the passion to bring the passion forward. So I think this is just about understanding that if you know that you are coming across that way, that it's not really with lovers, it shouldn't be affecting lovers or that kind of energy in your life. You could bring something new in, and it could be very passionate. And again, they don't preclude it, you know. It's not like you have to be, you know, a sort of Vestal virgin, you know, living as a Delphi oracle or something. What about friends and family? What do they see that you don't see about yourself? Ritual, spiritual protection, initiation, community, routine. They see this as being really part of who you are. So like those that are close to you really understand this, and they don't feel the sort of fear around it. But they do feel you're very mysterious. They probably think that you've been sort of doing rituals in your bedroom since you were a child or something like that. There's that kind of sense of like, oh. But on the other hand, they see you as very protective, and they see this as being part of being connected with you. And you're likely to have other friends and so forth around you that have similar sort of interests. So why is it that you don't see, I think, the acceptance of who you are at that level fully? We have the 3 of Wands. Sorry, it's sometimes a little bit hard to work out what the cards are in this deck. 3 of Wands and the 8 of Pentacles. You feel that like friendship and like being with others and having a common cause is something you have to work at. It's a skill you need to develop. But I think this is saying that like some want to connect with who you truly are. It's like you don't need to just develop the skill. So what can you do now that you know that? Justice. Yeah. See things that are fair. See things in a more balanced way. Ace of Wands reversed. And think about what the potential is there. And there could be a connection here. It could be that there's a friend. For some of you, there's a friend that could actually become a lover if you start to sort of like understand that they accept the full you. Okay, what about workers, colleagues, etc.? Video games, skills, abilities, problem solving tests. Okay, so people at work just think you're very clever and you're very future oriented. I think they particularly see the blue sky thing, the very Aquarian sort of energy. So they sort of see you as a problem solver, future oriented, like your mind's really fun. I don't think they feel as detached. They probably don't see as much of the more sort of psychic stuff. So they kind of see you in that way. They may see you as someone they test themselves against as well. So why don't you know that they see you that way? The Fool, the 3 of Cups. Again, I feel like you don't feel that comfortable with groups, or you feel like that's a new thing for you, or to have a group, like even like a video game player in a way is interacting with so much energy, but they're kind of doing it on their own. I think it would surprise you how much people would like to join in with you and have fun with you and explore with you. So if you know that now, how can that help you? The Seven of Pentacles, it will help with your career, growing your career. And the Four of, no, sorry, the Six of Cups, sorry. It's almost a little bit hard to tell. The Six of Cups. You can come back. There's a childlike energy here. Like you could actually really enjoy yourself at work. There's something about your ability, and I'd say it's particularly in the blue sky thinking, but also the sort of like kind of almost being able to understand the timelines and all that kind of thing that could really work well for you. And you could get back to like the growth that you wanted to have in your career if you start to do it. So there's a big thing here for you about you didn't really know why, but you felt like you were a little bit separated out from other people, and the people were a bit, found you a bit off-putting or something like that. Like, and I'm not saying anything major or anything awful. They did seem to really like the way you thought, but they seem to be a bit nervous around you. This is kind of telling you why. It's like very psychic, very powerful on that level. But it can be used, the blue sky stuff in particular can be used around work and around relationships. Once you realize that there are other people like you and other people who would really love what you bring to the table on that level, then you can break through that. Okay, so let's get you a theme song for each of these types of energy. So around the Lovers, something else to be aware of in terms of what you don't see. Light my fire. Yeah, like you really are attractive. Like don't feel this makes you unattractive on any level. What about a theme song around friendships? Ain't no sunshine. So ain't no sunshine. We know the next sort of line about, if you're not there, then it's not shiny. So like don't feel that it has to be cold and sort of icy. Like, you can bring the sunshine if you just allow the connection. And then around work, baby come back. Okay. So they people at work really like you. Don't sort of feel like you kind of have to be a bit separate. And there may in fact be a workplace that, with the Six of Cups, there may in fact be a workplace that really wants you to come back if you've left, because they really did like what you did and you maybe didn't realize it. So that's something to realize. Okay. Let's just get a little bit of astrology energy to help with this. So firstly, we have Neptune in the 12th house. Yeah, well, of course, super psychic, connected to the higher realms. Yeah, you are. Like this has to do, it's the higher realms and also the underworld, like the whole box and dice. But like you are a psychic first and foremost. We also have the South Node in Gemini, have intellectual honesty. I think this is actually about moving a bit away from the intellect, the limited, and like then opening up to the psychic, because I do think the intellect is part of this, but I think that's the blue sky stuff. So I do feel that you kind of are more comfortable with that. But if you're really honest with yourself and with others, you need to also incorporate this incredibly psychic energy. And we have Cancer rising, embodies kindness. You're a kind person. You're a nice person. But I think you've had to self-protect. People think, like if people got to know you, they go, gee, you're a pussycat. But you come across as really strong, and like you kind of, people have to actually understand that you are benign and caring. Okay, so to finish off, we're just going to use the Compass Mentis Tarot, which is the monochromatic one I use for what's really under the surface. And I'm going to lay out 5 cards, so I need you to choose a number between 1 and 5. And that will be your distilled message in the collective, depending upon which you choose. So if you haven't chosen a number already, pause and then unpause once you have, because I'm about to lay them out. So if you chose number 1, you have Justice. If you chose number 2, you have the 7 of Swords reversed. If you chose number 3, you have the Queen of Cups reversed. If you chose number 4, you have the 8 of Wands. And if you chose number 5, you have the 6 of Swords. So if you chose number 1, this is going to particularly pay off, this understanding this around work contracts and things like that. Or if there's been any kind of dispute, your ability to be both intellectually broad in the way you think, but also get to the depths is going to be really powerful for you. So own those things, and own that you're formidable when you need to be formidable. If you chose number 2, this is like kind of an aha, get really real about this. Like if you get really real, you already have about your intellect, I think. It's now time to get real about how strong your psychic ability is. If you chose number 3, this is the very Persephone feeling, I think. Queen of Cups reversed, a scorpionic card reversed. It's Scorpio. Like the really big thing for you to understand is like mediumship ability, the capacity to go into the sort of the kind of like underworld realms, that kind of thing. It is a power that you have. It's natural to you. You might be scared of it yourself to some degree, and you might have had barriers up, but it is part of you, and it will bring. Remember that Persephone always return for spring and summer. It's not like kind of the only way to be, but you need to own that in yourself because it's part of your emotional makeup. If you chose number 4, this is meant to free you to really become creative and fly and really to get to that blue sky thing. It's like the blue sky thinking's there, but this depth in the rest of it, when you warm that up a bit, you kind of like bring the sunshine, you light the fire, all that kind of thing. There's so much you can do with other people when you let the right ones in. And if you chose number 5, this is meant to make you feel calmer about where you're going and have a sense of direction. Like you might have been really worried underneath, and that might be why you chose the periwinkle, because you might have felt, oh God, people seem to think I'm difficult to get close to. This will give you a clarity on why to be able to move forward so that you can, in fact, have the really lovely relationships that are on offer to you. So I hope that resonates. I hope you enjoyed the reading. If so, please like the video and subscribe. If you care to share in the comments, I'd love to hear. Otherwise, I hope to see you in future readings. Welcome, Pile 3, to your reading. So you came to the reading with Ruby, which talks about fearlessness, strength, and warrior. And I half suspect, particularly with the other cards that are here, that if you chose 4 Ruby for that energy, as opposed to you always choose 3 or it was just intuitive, that part of this might be that you actually worry about whether or not you have the kind of fearlessness to see something through and really go for something. Because this is something you don't know about yourself, so it'd be kind of like, oh, is it there or not? And I think the answer is yes, because you've been drawn to this. It is something that's there. But it's interesting when we look at these 2 cards that come with it, because we have dandelion, manifestation, optimization, or optimism, and wishes. So yes, you can do stuff, and you maybe don't fully back yourself on that. Like you underneath have a kind of strong manifestation ability and you're optimistic, but it's sort of like you don't really see that in yourself. You might even be someone who described yourself as a glass half empty. And in actual fact, most people see you as a glass half full. They see you as optimistic. They see you as moving towards something. And it actually reminds me of something years ago. I used to sort of think of myself as a bit of a glass half empty because I'm really overly analytical about everything, which won't surprise anybody who comes to these readings. So I used to always think, oh, well, I'm kind of not the person who sort of is optimistic or whatever. But a friend of mine said to me, no, you are, because you're always problem solving. You're always in the mode to actually solve the problem. If you were pessimistic, you'd have given up. And I thought that's so interesting. It was such an insightful thing to say. And it made me realize that optimism isn't necessarily just thinking everything must work out for the best. It's actually, I can do something with this. So yes, I can. So I think you may not realize how much you actually are fearless and move forward and you move into a problem solving thing. But you suspect, as I did about myself many years ago, that it's more the glass half empty. So I think people see you as glass half full and as optimistic and able to go after what you want. They also see you as dreaming big. So this is daydream, fantasy, imagination with mint. And I think for you, that's the thing that makes you worry and wonder whether you're actually these other things. Because I think that you might sometimes think, are my dreams too big? But other people see you as someone who not only has the dream, but has the optimism and the manifestation ability to do it, and you'll see it through. So you don't understand how much other people see you as a bit of a role model for going after what you really want and going for your dreams and believing in your dreams. And that would probably surprise you because, as I say, you're probably a bit over analytical like me, and you probably think, oh, I'm very cautious, but you're not really. And when you think about it, you take a lot more risks than other people do because you have the dream and because you're kind of always problem solving to get to that. So I'm not wanting to project, but I think I understand this energy a bit. I think we might be a bit similar. And it was the insight of that friend of mine that, like gave me that aha moment. So hopefully this might help as well. But what we're going to do with tarot is that we're going to firstly see a little bit more about what you don't see, picking this sort of energy up. Then we're going to ask why it is you don't see it. And then we're going to ask, once you do know this now, what can you do with that? So a little bit more about what you don't see about yourself that others are seeing in you. 9 of Cups, there it is. The wish can be fulfilled. 4 of Pentacles, Page of Cups, Death reversed, 6 of Cups. Yeah, like you've had this since you were really young, and you've got a really strong sense of what you would really want, what your dream would be. And you've known that, like whatever this is, you've known it for a long time. And you kind of are prepared to do the long-term thing to get it. But you may protect it a lot, which may be another reason why you don't see it. You might think, I'm a bit fearful. I don't sort of like make decisions quickly enough. But in actual fact, what this is saying is that you're nurturing this. And you're making sure that your step-by-step foundations are there. So you're not moving forward or making decisions until it's the right time to do it. That does not make you pessimistic or kind of like fearful at all. It just means that you have a really strong sense of what you're protecting and growing, and you know how to give a good foundation for it. So as I say, problem solver, someone who gets the steps right, who knows what they're doing. So people do not see you as either just someone who has lots of dreams but doesn't do anything, or that that you are kind of like someone who's pessimistic. They really see you as someone who takes dreams and makes them happen in a fearless way, but in a time frame that is the right time frame that feels solid. People would like trust you, and they would trust that you're not going to do anything. They'll see the great dream, but they're not thinking that you're going to be unreliable because of it. You will bring it through. Even if it's hard, you will bring it through. So, but you don't see that about yourself because you probably think that that you're not strong enough or fearless enough to go after what you want. But like you are doing it. This is the thing. You're not actually aware you're doing it. So why is it that you're not aware of that? 10 of Wands, 4 of Cups, 7 of Wands, Strength reversed, King of Swords. Okay. Firstly, there may have been someone in your past, and it may have been in your childhood, given it's come with the 6 of Cups. It doesn't have to be. It could be in a workplace. It could be a friend. It could be a lover. It could be anything. But there's someone who I think around you kind of was very, like you've got to do it this particular way, and this is the way to be the leader, and this is the way to kind of take something through. Very strict. There's a very strict energy that's been around you. And it's made you feel that you weren't as strong as you actually were. So it was like somebody, like it's like a parent or a sibling or a friend or something. There's somebody who's like, I'm right all the time. So if you had a dream, they would try and cut that down if they didn't think it was okay. And I feel like they're holding the sword here, and yet you've got the sword here. So, and it may be even like unconsciously on their part, it's been, I have to take the sword first. So they try and take your strength from you. They try and undermine you, whether it's conscious or not. And for some of them, it is conscious. So you just need to know that there could be someone around you who's quite competitive, who sees your potential and really wants to take that away. So, and this person has quite an influence on you. So as I say, it could be a teacher, it could be a parent, it could be a sibling, it could be a friend, it could be a lover, but there's something like that going. That's one of the reasons. The other reason is that you feel an emotional block in accessing your courage because you kind of know how long this journey is going to be. And there's a side of you, like, because what's operating here is the Mint is the side that just has the wonderful dream, and then the Dandelion is the one that has the capacity to manifest it and bring it into being. And it does take courage to do it. But there's a side of you that kind of like, the dream is very big. There's a burden associated with it, and you can see the blocks before they come. But this is what triggers the problem solving. You're not necessarily seeing that you're doing that, but this person's made you think you don't have the strength to see it through, and yet you actually do. And you're very realistic about what it takes. But there's some emotional programming operating here. So if you know that someone's kind of done a bit of a number on you, someone, or maybe an institution of some sort, like say you had a dream and when you went to, say, university, and then you were very different and ahead of your time, and you just didn't get the marks because they wanted you to say what they thought, which happens a lot at university. It might be that they made you feel that you weren't up to this in some way, but it's not true. So knowing that it's not true, what can you do with that knowledge? Knight of Wands, move forward with confidence. Queen of Wands, and self-actualize. Knight of Cups, have the dream. Queen of Swords, beat this person. Know that your way of thinking and your way of problem solving, like the only way is up, quite frankly, pile. 3, like you really can create this, but you've got to start to realize that your way of thinking is actually better than the other way of thinking. And like your dream is achievable because that's what you are meant to do. You are meant to be the ruby, and you are meant to move forward with it. So this is very strong wake up call of don't let other people tell you who you are. Now, interestingly, what we're going to do now is we're going to look at different types of people. So it might help us understand which one is the King of Swords there. And by the way, this person, they may be like trying to consciously make you feel not so good, but that's because they truly believe they're right. They probably truly believe they're only really seeing the mint, that like your dream is not achievable. They're not right, but they're not deliberately being misleading. It's just they just think they're right about everything, and they're not. Okay, so we're going to look at lovers and potential lovers. We're going to look at friends and family, and we're going to look at career, for people around your career. And we're just going to get a dream image for what else. It might be another layer of this, or it might be something different, that those different sorts of people in your life see in you that you are maybe not seeing yourself. So lovers and potential lovers. Video game. Okay, so they see your skills and abilities. Problem solving. Yeah, exactly. That's a big part of this. Like they really can see, they're close enough to you to see all the adventure, the fun. You're a bit of a challenge. They want to meet you. You've got great dreams and great visions, and they want to be the one. They want to be the one. So I think that lovers really want to kind of show to you that they can be, what it is that you dream of. And they want you to have a bit of fun. So if they're looking at you as great problem solver, strategist, someone to have fun with, someone that, you can challenge each other, why is it that you're not seeing that at the moment? The Chariot and the Four of Cups. Because you've got a bit of an emotional block, probably caused by this sort of energy. You're kind of like, you really do, from childhood, you knew something you wanted to do or something you wanted to achieve, and you're kind of like the blocks around that, sort of like they're leaching some of this out. But if you listen to lovers or potential lovers, they'll show you, just like my friend showed me years ago, actually you're a problem solver. You need to shift your way of looking at things. So if you do, what can you get from that? King of Wands, yeah, like you can start at King of Wands, Queen of Wands. You can definitely get your partner, the right partner for you, who is able to, meet you at your level. And 10 of Pentacles, like whether this was a workplace person or a family person, you move into your power and away from that which made you feel you couldn't achieve something. So it's really important, like lovers or potential lovers here want to be part of the journey with you. They don't want to be sort of separate to it, or a block to it, or a distraction from it. What about friends and family? Now, we do know family is a possible energy here, so we'll just see what we get. Friends and family. Attic, yeah, I think it might be mainly family. Ungrounded, fearful, hiding, like your friend and overthinking. Your friends may think that you are getting in your own way. Your family might think that, or there could be somebody from your family who made you feel your dreams were not practical. So why is it that well, I actually think you shouldn't see this in yourself because I don't think it's accurate, but like what is going on, I think, rather than why didn't you see it? What is going on with that, with why friends or family are sort of seeing that. King of Pentacles, because there's somebody, it's probably the father line, though it doesn't have to be. And Five of, like, I think like it's a father or a sibling, or it could be a friend who has that kind of energy, but they think that your dreams aren't achievable. They're wrong, but they think that. And they want to kind of like stop you going after it and stop you being disappointed. They're not actually seeing they're the thing that's the problem. So now that you know that, what can you do? Love reverse, that's an additional major arcana card. And the Three of Wands reverse. It's not necessarily that you stop loving or caring about these people, but I think it's stop caring or loving their viewpoint because it's their path. It's not your path. Understanding it does come from a form of love. It's just a misguided form of love because it would take you down the wrong path. Okay, and what about at work or with colleagues or people that you deal with in your vocation and whatever that is? Hotel, travel, escape, transition, limbo, insecurity, uncertainty. Okay, so it may be that in your work, because of this, you may be someone who's in a job that's not your ultimate dream. So some may at work sort of think, oh, she won't stay here or he won't stay here for very long because they've got another dream. Or they may see you as sort of someone who is always on the move. They may think, some might think you're a bit escapist if it's more that kind of energy. But I think most are seeing you in a point of transition about whether what you're doing at the moment is the right thing for what you really want to do. So why is it you wouldn't be seeing that kind of sense of maybe instability that people that you're working with might see? The Magician reverse, because it's not the right way of understanding what's going on with you. Queen of Swords reverse, and because it just feels like a criticism. You could be around critical people. Also because you've got to kind of like step up into knowing you can achieve and problem solve to get what you want. So I do think for many of you, you may not be in the right workplace, or if you are, you need to recalibrate how you communicate to be seen for what you can do. So knowing that, what can you do with that? Self, you can be truer to yourself and get back to the core of who you are. Warm reversed. And you can cool down a little bit. It may be that sometimes with Ruby there, that frustration might come across as being a little bit combative. So you can cool down some of that to deal with a cooler energy that's in the workplace, but get the communication more clarified on what it is that you want. Okay, so I also thought I'd get a song to be a kind of theme energy around what these different groups of people see in you. So around lovers and potential lovers. Tiny Dancer. Oh, that's kind of lovely. That kind of concept of be with me on the road, be with me on the journey. I think it's also that, there's the tiny dancer in the song is a seamstress, is a creative in a different way. So I think that lovers would want you to create what you want to create, but they want to be on the journey with you. Friends and family. I put a spell on you. Yeah, there's somebody, it's either a friend or a family member has tried to control you. I think they think they're doing it for the right reason, but it's their own fears projected. And then in the workplace, moon dance. I think people in the workplace really like you and they enjoy you, but I don't think that they think that you're there long term. And that's, potentially fine. That's not necessarily a problem. But if you are there long term, maybe you need to sort of like say this is a dance you want to go on forever. You're really enjoying it too, so that people don't think you're looking for the exit lounge. Let's get just a little bit of astrology energy as well. So firstly, we have Neptune in the 11th house, love for humanity. Yeah, look, you have this beautiful open heart. People do see you as being very caring and very kind. And you'd like to do something bigger than just yourself. I think whatever your dream is that you've had, it would help humanity in some way. We have North Node, first house Aries, be assertive. Yeah, you're meant to go after what you want now and to be confident in that. And that's part of what this life is teaching you, because that's what the North Node, we're meant to be going towards that. We're meant to be hungry for that. And we have The moon in the 10th house in Capricorn, an emotional need for acknowledgement. Yeah, this is where the issue has been going on. It's almost like you've been looking for the external validation for your dream. And if you've been actually getting some external questioning of it because of a different viewpoint, not because you're wrong. You might have thought, oh, I don't have the courage and I'm just in a wish phase, but you're not. You're able to do this. That's what you need to understand. Within the way you think and do things is actually sort of the incremental problem solving that will get you towards what you want. Okay, so now what I want to do to close out the reading is I'm going to shuffle and deal out 5 cards. So I want you to pick a number from 1 to 5 because that will be the card that sums up this reading for you. If you have already done that, that's great. If you need to pause to get the number, then do that because I'm about to deal them out. So if you chose number 1, we have the 10 of Swords reversed. If you chose number 2, we have the Ace of Swords. If you chose number 3, we have the Queen of Swords. Gee, there's a lot about how you think about things here. If you chose number 4, we have the 6 of Swords. If you chose number 5, we have the 4 of Cups. Gee, all but 1 are swords. That's really interesting. So if you chose number 1, this is meant to be an end to the worry. There's been worry, there's been doubt. This message is meant to make you have that aha moment, to know that you've got everything you need. You're very smart. You're very, very, that overthinking thing is actually not really overthinking. It's very well focused, but you need to own that and know that, and the drama is over. If you chose number 2, this is meant to bring a new inspiration in and a new sense of, yes, I can achieve what I want. If you chose number 3, it's like this is you understanding your ability here is the key thing, and your capacity to communicate. Queen of Swords is a Gemini card. So I think there's a sense of like how you communicate is going to be very important with this. If you chose number 4, you're just meant to feel a lot calmer and happier. You don't necessarily need to know all the steps, but you need to just know and hear from the universe that you're on the right path. And if you chose number 5, this is meant to break through an emotional block that's probably been to do with how you've been portrayed by others or thought of by others. So it's meant to move you past an emotional block and move you towards your dream. But in any case, you are going to achieve it. That's maybe the main thing you don't know is that you're actually in the process of achieving it while you're worried that you're just dreaming, and you're not. So I hope that resonates for you. I hope you enjoyed the reading. If so, please like and subscribe. If you care to share in the comments, I'd love to hear. Otherwise, I hope to see you in future readings.